Last Friday, the world experienced a Y2K-like event when a faulty update from cybersecurity from CrowdStrike caused millions of Windows machines to go down. Was this due to developers' simple mistake or an organizational failure? In today's video, we'll try to find out what really happened by taking a deep dive into the technical details. So, let's get started. Modern computer CPUs have a security architecture called protection rings. These rings create a layer of privilege and access within the system. Ring 3, the user mode, is the outermost ring. This is where most applications run. They have limited access to hardware and rely on the operating system to perform privileged tasks. Ring 1 and 2, because of their limited benefit, they are typically not used in common operating systems like Windows, macOS, or Linux, so we won't be talking about it. Ring 0, or the kernel mode, is the innermost ring. This is where the operating system's kernel resides, and it has complete control over the hardware and system resources. The kernel is the heart and soul of an operating system. It is a special piece of software that acts as the main bridge between your computer's hardware, like processor, memory, and storage, and the software applications you run, like your web browsers or word processors. It is named a kernel because it operates inside the OS, or the operating system, just like a seed inside a hard shell. But more about kernel in my future videos. Now, normally when an application crashes, it only breaks that application running in user land, or ring 3 in the CPU protection ring. So no blue screen of death required. But CrowdStrike is a unique piece of software that runs within ring 0, or kernel mode, the most privileged zone around the CPU, usually reserved for process scheduling and direct hardware access. Windows devices utilize cybersecurity tools developed by CrowdStrike, which offers a suite of cloud-native solutions. One of the key products in the suite is called CrowdStrike Falcon. The Falcon driver in the kernel monitors system events like file access, process creation for suspicious activities. And Falcon records details about who has logged in on a machine, what programs are run, and the name of files that are read or written. For example, if you log in and open Microsoft Word document, say byteman.doc, CrowdStrike Falcon will most likely record the computer name and logged in username. It records the word has run and gathers some details about the Word program itself. It also records the file name, in this case byteman.doc, but will not access or provide any information about the contents of the file. And if it detects something potentially malicious, it sends information to the user mode portion of Falcon. The Falcon Sensor continuously collects telemetry data about system events, processes, and potential threats. And this data is periodically sent to the CrowdStrike Cloud Platform. The cloud platform aggregates and analyzes data from millions of sensors worldwide. It leverages advanced threat intelligence and machine learning algorithms to identify patterns, detect new threats, and generate insights. The cloud platform then sends updated threat intelligence, configuration changes, and detection rules back to the Falcon sensors. This helps the sensors adapt to new threats and improves their ability to detect and prevent attacks. So this is what happened. CrowdStrike deployed latest version of Falcon Agent, the C0000291star.sys was updated and the running agents downloaded the file. This update contained a logic error that caused the Falcon sensor driver to crash. Because the driver operates in kernel, the crash led to system-wide blue screen of death, or BSOD, for all the affected machines. Now, WHQL, or the Windows Hardware Quality Labs, is Microsoft's testing program to ensure hardware and drivers, including those operating in Ring 0, meet specific compatibility and reliability standards. While Microsoft strongly controls Ring 0 access, but third-party developers can obtain WHQL certification for their drivers, allowing them to run code in this highly sensitive area. The CrowdStrike driver involved was WHQL certified. So it sounds like that it's Microsoft's fault, but not so fast. For this, we need to understand CrowdStrike Falcon Sensor. The Falcon Sensor consists of two main parts, driver and channel files. Driver is the core component that runs in the Windows kernel, or Ring 0, and has the highest level of system access. It performs essential functions like monitoring system activity, scanning files, and interacting with the operating system. Channel files are configuration files that provide instructions and rules to the driver. They are updated frequently from the cloud and contain information about new threats, attack patterns, and vulnerabilities that the Falcon driver or sensor should look for. Crucially, these files do not run as code themselves. They are merely instructions that the driver interprets. The initial report suggests a null pointer issue in dynamic data file downloaded by the CrowdStrike driver. The key point is that while channel files themselves don't execute code, but they can still cause problems if they contain flawed instruction or data. In this case, the logic error in channel file 291 was triggered by a faulty operation within the driver, ultimately leading to the crash. This file, while part of the driver's operation, might not have been directly subject to the same level of scrutiny as the core driver code during WHQL testing. A C++ programmer's initial online analysis of the CrowdStrike incident went viral. This attributed the crash to a simple null pointer error, a common coding mistake easily preventable with an if statement. However, the subsequent investigation by a security researcher revealed a more complex issue. The driver code was reading pointers from a table, some of which were invalid, due to the potential parsing errors in a configuration file. You can check out all the relevant links to the research work in the channel description. They all suggest a pre-existing vulnerability in the driver, likely present for some time, that was finally triggered by the specific configuration update. Essentially, a developer's oversight, but compounded by inadequate testing, led to a cascading failure that exposed a long-standing weakness in the software. It is likely that both CrowdStrike and Microsoft share some level of responsibility for the incident. CrowdStrike could have potentially implemented more robust error handling and data validation within the driver to prevent crashes caused by unexpected file content. Microsoft could re-evaluate their WHQL testing procedures to better identify potential vulnerabilities in dynamic content handled by drivers. We can't blame this one person, but a failure like this should never reach production. When software operates in the critical path or kernel like this, there should be multiple layers of protection. Quality assurance, continuous integration, staggered rollouts, and so on. It's absolutely insane that this wasn't caught by some automated process before it killed millions of computers. It's not the one person who wrote the code, it's an organizational failure. The most likely root cause of this disaster is just a lack of quality control at the company CrowdStrike. Microsoft is also actively developing eBPF for Windows. eBPF is a powerful toolkit that allows you to run custom sandbox programs within the operating system's kernel, which means that application developers can run eBPF programs to add additional capabilities to the OS at runtime. And so, it has the potential to offer a more secure and flexible alternative to traditional kernel drivers in future. But more on eBPF in a future video.